So, yeah, got it. So, Prerna is a climate and development leader advancing inclusive, scalable solutions for urban and community resilience. She's the CEO of Aga Khan Agency for Habitat India, where she leads climate action across cities and vulnerable communities, integrating urban resilience, nature based solutions, cooling and flood resilience, ecosystem restoration, and water security through community driven approaches. She has played a formative role in shaping India's social impact ecosystem, having established the ICICI Foundation for the ICICI Group, which is a large bank in India, and the Yes Foundation for Yes Bank. Her leadership journey is featured in the Chief Executive Officer. She is committed to translating global climate action into the on ground action that supports a just, resilient, and livable future. I also happened to speak with her today, and she is extremely excited about just learning at Terradu in the Tapir cohort. Over to you, Prerna. If you could just quickly introduce yourself and share your screen and go ahead with our session today for Designing for Resilience, Climate Leadership in Action.
So extremely delighted to meet everyone. I see a lot of familiar faces. So firstly, I'm a tapir, and a lot of people from my cohort. Last year, I know there are a lot of people from your cohort, and so it would be great to know from where all people are signing in. So my introduction is, I'm actually a learner in the climate space. I have a lot of background in the development sector in India, and I'm signing in from Mumbai, India. So I love the course. I really enjoyed co-learning. I'm still enjoying. I'm a little behind on the learning, so I don't know whether I'm going to complete it by the 21st. So okay, great. Washington DC, Belgium. Where else? Oh, okay, also Bangalore. Ah, hi Jafina. Hi Karthik. Mumbai, okay, Barcelona, Delhi. Oh, wow, 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 wow. Amazing, amazing. So it's great to be here with everyone. So I'm going to be sharing more on my experiences and the work that we have done on the ground. Theory, I am myself learning. So I'm just going to share my screen.
Meanwhile, if anybody has questions during Prerna's session, please leave it in the Q&A box. In case we don't have more than 30, 40 people, we can directly ask her these questions. Otherwise, I'll be clubbing them and asking her at once. Over to you, Prerna.
Yeah, can you see my screen?
Yes, I can, but yeah.
Okay, so since I'm from the tapir cohort, I thought, I'll start with this cute animal. To be honest, before I joined Terra.do, I didn't know about tapirs, but I think they're extremely cute and so sweet. So I thought I'll start with this. Yeah. And so I do feel very strongly about nature. I also meditate and I feel very close to nature. So I feel that, I need to contribute and ensure that all beings, not only human beings, but animals, planet, how I could contribute. That's where I'm coming from. And this was supposed to be the music, but it didn't play, but it's fine. So today I'm going to be talking to you about designing for resilience, and this is based on the work that we do at Aga Khan on the ground here in India, and so one second, yeah. So I don't have to tell you as to how urgent the climate issue is. We're already at 1.5 degrees Celsius. And if nothing is done, we could go to much higher degrees, 6, 7. So we have already crossed past the climate agreement 1.5. The point I want to make here is a large amount of emissions comes from energy. So as you can see on the screen, 75% is from energy, and residential buildings form a large part, 12.5%. So globally, there is an issue. Then coming to India, uh, India, we are aware that it accounts for approximately 8% of global GHG emissions. The per capita is lower, but cities occupy only 34% of India, but contribute to 60% of total GHG emissions. And a lot of corporate India is looking more to rural areas than cities. But cities need to be addressed. The problem is when it comes to heat waves, they are not included as a disaster. And because if it's not included as a disaster, there's no department and there's no climate finance specifically going to heat.
Prerana,
Then moving into, yeah,
Prerana,
can you
sorry for
see my slide?
yeah,
Yeah.
there is some amount of blurriness on screen. Maybe could you like stop sharing and share it again if possible and skip the video so that we have
Okay.
some bandwidth. Yeah.
Yeah. One second. Is it clearer now?
Oh, actually, it
Oh,
has
it's
some
not. Then I'll just
bad,
change my.
it has
Okay,
some
just
bad
one second.
patches.
I'm going to just change my internet. Maybe that would, because I'm taking it from home. So one second.
Maybe if you could delete the video in the first slide, it might kind of load
Ah,
better.
okay.
If you can try doing that. That's your entire screen now.
Is it better?
It still has this sort of gray patch at the bottom. Is it just me or is anybody else seeing this gray patch as well? Yeah, okay. Okay, gone now, but there's one at the top.
Okay.
Maybe we'll just give it a few seconds so that it disappears. It seems to
The gray patch is actually the that banner of Zoom.
no, though this one's slightly below that. There's like a I think the one from the bottom is gone, so maybe you can screen share and see how it goes at this point.
Okay. Is it better? No.
Slightly. I mean, I can see all the content, so maybe if we can go ahead and see if there is the type better now, yes, because we can't earlier we couldn't see the bottom part, which was challenging. Yeah, this is slightly better. I think we're skipping the headings, but I think if you can just like walk us through what the headings
One
are.
one second, maybe the view. I'll see whether I can. Okay. Yeah, sorry about that. I don't know what to do.
It's okay. These are just headings that we can't see right now, so you could just walk us through the headings, and
Okay.
yeah, this is also moving around, so
Yeah, because I'm trying to move it. It's the band of Zoom. So if anybody can just help
oh,
and tell me what I could do, I think that would.
is it on your screen? You can just completely minimize it and just look at your screen and speak for a bit. You can completely minimize Zoom at your end if that is what is the one that's objecting.
Yeah. How do I do that?
Just go to the top and yeah, sorry, we have somebody who's raised hand. Do you have an answer? I'm sorry, I don't have your name. Yeah, you could also share an entire screen instead of just a window. If
Okay. I'll do that.
you will have to stop sharing and start sharing again.
Okay.
Sorry about the
Sorry about this. Okay.
yeah, Prerana's Tech is a PPT, and I have some technical challenges with that, Tanusha. And it's a heavy file because it has a couple of videos, which is why I'm unable to
Yeah.
open.
It's still like this?
Yeah, sort of like that, yes.
Okay, just
It
give
is
me
clearing
one.
out a little bit slowly, so maybe we could go ahead if it's not too much of a problem. What do you say, folks? Do you think we should go ahead and let Prerna do the talking?
Just 1 second. I'll just try once more.
Okay, everybody seems to give a thumbs up here. So yeah.
Okay, so going ahead, as I mentioned, like cities are the problem because nobody's really looking at cities. And basically, the way to go about heat, in our experience, is that the best way to tackle heat on a city level is to look at green retrofitting and cooling solutions. So, what are these cooling solutions? You have a mix of two. You have, active cooling where you have air conditioners, and passive cooling where you really work on insulation or a cool roof solution or reflective materials or shading systems. And using this, we have found like a significant drop in temperature, especially with vulnerable communities that we have been working with. Uh, so moving to the next slide, I am showing you a picture. I think I'll put this down. I don't know what to do with it. Okay, so I'm showing you a picture of informal settlements. When we say informal settlements, we mean, slum settlements or low-income households. And we took a base drone image of this informal settlement, which is in a city next to Mumbai. And you can see that the temperature range is right from 33 degrees to 53 degrees in the same area. So, right within this area, the black area is a playground. So, that is more in the range of 33 degrees. And the rest of the areas, you can see the range is right from 45 degrees to 50 degrees. And the reason for the same is because of the roofing. So some of the roofing here is made of cement sheets, of asbestos, and metal roofing. So within the same area, it's almost criminal that already we have rising temperatures. But in addition to that, you have these roofs that trap the temperature and make it 8 to 12 degrees warmer. So, so the context, to give you the context, I'm talking about India, and within India, I'm talking about Maharashtra, which is on the western region of India. And within Maharashtra, I will be talking about two areas, which is Mira Bhayandar and Chandrapur. In fact, Chandrapur is known to be one of the hottest cities in the world, where the average temperature is around 46 degrees Celsius, which is really, really hot. And it's really sad to see the condition of the people there, especially people living in the low income households. Because I visited even in the month of August, usually it's the summer here is, more from April to June. But people have like boils on their hands and they have all kinds of illnesses because of heat. So, giving this context, I just want to take you through how we have gone about it in terms of what has been our approach of tackling heat. So, right in Mira Bhayandar and in Chandrapur city, first we have done the mapping of the city. And, using all kinds of, we have in-house expertise. So, we have GIS mapping, drone mapping, etc. Then we find the hottest areas. Where is it hot? The most hottest. Then we do the field survey to figure out which is the most vulnerable populations that are getting affected by this. And then we do listening workshops where leveraging influencers like women groups, etc. We actually sit with the community to understand, how do they feel and how do they adapt to heat. One of the striking feedback is community members think that heat is something that they have to adjust to. It's so hot, so no problem, we have to adjust. They don't think that it is something that's related to their health. They talk about it, but they don't see it as something that the government has to work on or non-profits need to work on. So, working with the community, we co-create design solutions. To find out, because even if you want to work, you're entering somebody's house, and people don't trust you, right? So you need to get consent. You need to understand and explain to them as to how this would work. So, working with them, we co-create the solutions. And then in this picture, you can see a solar reflective index paint, like a white paint that reflects the heat that we look at as one of the solutions. And then we monitor the results over like 3 seasons. And we have different kinds of monitoring devices like the thermal gun, etc., to monitor what are the results there. So moving to this, since you can't see the heading, sorry about that. Yeah, moving to this, this is the map of Mira Bhainder city, which is a city of 1.1 million people next to Mumbai in the western region of India. And if you can see in 2005 to 2022. So the change, there's an increase in built up area, which means there is more and more of these buildings that have come up, which has taken over the green spaces, which has taken over agricultural lands. So there's a 50% increase in built up area. And there is a nearly 0.46 degrees in temperature. And the green cover has gone down by 13.6 degrees just in a period of less than 20 years, we were able to see these changes. Like I mentioned to you, Mira Bhainder, which is below, is the temperature, it's more like warm and humid. The climate, because lots of urbanization and excessive, when there's urbanization, there's excessive use of materials which reduces the reflection. So there is something known as the urban island effect, where what happens is the temperature UHI in urban areas is much more than the surrounding areas. So, for example, it could, and this is because of the gray spaces, right? The roads, the buildings, cement, asphalt. So, they are not able to reflect the heat. So, what happens due to urban heat island effect is during the nights, the temperature becomes even higher, which is so surprising. One would think that, during the nights it would become cooler, but nothing of that sort. It becomes even hotter. So urban areas are much more hotter than immediate rural areas because of the built environment and the gray surfaces that are there. Then talking about Chandrapur, which is one of the hottest cities in the world, with an average temperature of 46 degrees. There also, like, most of the city is under high heat stress. And the number of days are just going up, on heat waves. So it's quite a sad condition there. Uh, so what we did is we did simulations. So the materials that you can see, the simulations that we used. This was more on the computer. We have a team of architects, engineers to figure out, what could work, what could not work. And on an average, it's not so expensive. So it would be around 300 US dollar per, slum unit or per settlement. We did a simulation of this, but we actually went ahead and we covered, a number of households. And would like to show you the video.
गर्मियों में ज़्यादा तापमान आता है पतरे की वजह से, ज़्यादा हम लोग को हीट मारता है नीचे, हम लोग रह नहीं पाते हैं घर में।
गर्मी होने से ज़्यादा हम लोग का खर्चा बहुत बढ़ता है, बच्चे बीमार पड़ते हैं, हम बीमार पड़ते हैं, कोई काम नहीं हो पाता घर में, पढ़ाई लिखाई नहीं कर पाते हैं बच्चे लोग।
उन्होंने बताया कि अपन जो गर्मी से लोगों को राहत दे सकते हैं, तो बोला अच्छा है ना, लोगों का भी भला हो जाएगा।
तो जिस दिन गर्मी लगता है तो काम करने का मन नहीं होता है, तो ऑर्डर मेरा कैंसिल करना पड़ता है। हमारे घर में एलोपल किया है और वेंटिलेशन के लिए हॉल करवाया है, तब से तो थोड़ा रिलैक्स है और ठंडा भी है।
In this particular case, we use different materials. So the base you can see is like a cement roof. So on that we use something called wood wool. It's like a nature-based solution because it's used, by recycling different materials. And we use solar reflective index paint, like a white paint, and alufoil. So alufoil and wood wool are just under deck solutions. So below the surface of the roof, and solar reflective index paint is above the surface. So this was done in 126 households. And we did see like a difference in temperature. You can see that there was some amount of thermal comfort where, the temperature within the household went down between 3 to 5 degrees. It's very important to work on a household level because that's where, people experience heat more indoor than outdoor. So looking at different kinds of low-income households to schools, to housing societies is where we worked on. So we found different kinds of results in Mira Bhayandar, because Mira Bhayandar is near the sea and it's humid vis-a-vis Chandrapur, which is landlocked, which is hot and dry. So even the solution that you use, the effect that you get could be different. So in Mira Bhayandar, we found that the solar reflective index paint was not as effective as the other solutions. So we are still in the process of finding out what works, what doesn't, and we are learning from others also. So here I would like to take you through a case study of what we did in schools. We took the low-income schools supported by the government, and I will just show you a video because I think that gives you a picture of what's happening on the ground. Yeah.
तो ग्लोबल वार्मिंग की वजह से तापमान बढ़ गया है, इसका असर इधर भी हो रहा है। जब गर्मी होता है तो कितना भी फास्ट पंखा रहेगा ना, तभी हवा नहीं लगती, पंखे कैसा महसूस होता है। कॉन्क्रीटची बिल्डिंग असल्यामुळे जास्त उष्णता लागते, गरम जास्त होते। उन्हाळ्यामध्ये मुलांना खूप त्रास होतो, कारण इथे हवा येत नाही आणि त्यामुळे मुलांचं अभ्यासात लक्ष नसतं, असं उत्साहाने भाग घेत नाहीत, सतत असं मरगळल्यासारखं वाटतं, त्यांना जेवण जात नाही, म्हणजे बरेच प्रमाणात त्याची ते कमी होते एनर्जी। ये जो पेंट है वो स्पेशल पेंट है, गर्मी को रिफ्लेक्ट करता है बाहर। गर्मी को रिफ्लेक्ट करने की वजह से जो अपना पूरा बिल्डिंग है वो कैसा रहेगा, ठंडा रहेगा। हमारे जो पुराने फैन थे वो फैन ज़्यादा बिजली यूज़ कर रहे थे, तो जब हमारे आगा खान एजेंसी फॉर हैबिटेट ने जब हमारे फैन बदल दिए और रिमोट के फैन आ गए, हवा भी अच्छा आती है और बिजली की बचत भी होती है उससे। किताब में हमारे है बिजली की बचत करो, पानी की बचत करो, एनर्जी सेव करो, ऊर्जा बचत करो। खाली पढ़ाने से बच्चों के ऊपर ज़्यादा दिमाग में जाता नहीं है, लेकिन जब हम प्रैक्टिकल करते हैं तब मैंने तुरंत ही बच्चों को बताया, देखो पानी की भी बचत होती है और अभी बिजली की एनर्जी की भी बचत होती है।
So that was an example from schools, and we think it's important to do this in schools because this becomes like a living lab for sustainability. And it's only fair that, you know, children who go to these low income schools have access to good environment. And this was among the first schools in South Asia to get the World Bank IFC ED certification. So we ensured that they have lower, electricity bills, much lower. Down, the energy efficiency has gone down, up by 46%, water by 40%. And this is really good. In fact, we are doing this across schools. It was amazing to go to a school in one of the rural areas in Maharashtra and see that because of our work, their electricity bills have come down. Earlier for water, they had a problem. We put rain roof water harvesting. They used to call for tankers on every 2 days and spend like $120 every 2 days for a tanker. So it has resulted in a lot of savings, energy savings, water savings, and it has also become cooler. In this school, the walls also have been painted with solar reflective index paints. And we have put in various things, like she mentioned, like something called BLDC fans and dual flush tanks. And here, the SRI, solar reflective index paint. So yeah, that's what we did here. We also did this. I'm not going to show you a film because we don't have too much time, but we worked with the housing society. We do a lot of work with housing societies. We work with 341 housing societies because we believe that we all are suffering because of construction. 35% of global emissions comes from construction. But unfortunately, it's only increasing. So we are working with housing society managing committee members to help them to green retrofit, to ensure that that they delay construction, they keep the building safe, and they ensure it's more green. So we worked with a housing society, which is like a middle class housing society in Mira Bhayandar, because in Mira Bhayandar we had worked on the climate action plan, and we found that 62% of the emissions comes from energy and 40.5% from residential housing societies. So we work with these housing societies, put in rooftop solar, 45 kilowatt, and this is now bringing the bills drastically down. So earlier, the bill was like 55,000. Now it's 18,000 per month. And and we did that inside the house also, in terms of ensuring energy efficiency. We started kitchen gardening, and this became the first housing society in Asia to be green retrofitted with 41% energy savings, which is pretty significant. So we do see this as a model for more and more housing societies to adopt and, in a way, bring down the city emissions. So this is here. So, question for you: can you guess how much energy reduction can be achieved only by changing the fans in an apartment unit? And you can put the answers in chat. Any idea? Not bad. Okay. 40, 40, 40. Okay. 15. Okay. So, so the right answer is 60%. So we found that in the, with the fans that we put in fact, comparing it to the base from the previous year, the energy efficiency, 60% of savings. So while something as small, the point I'm trying to make is, all kinds of even appliances that one uses can drastically increase energy efficiency and, in a way, decrease the city emissions. So moving to the next slide, we also did cooling solutions in Hyderabad, which is in the south of India. Yeah, it was like we did mainly solar reflective index pane and China mosaic. And here you can see that earlier it was 65 degrees and the surface went down to 44 degrees. And inside, one level lower, the temperature has gone down from 4.3 to 6 degrees. And happy to say that, this fed into the Telangana government has come out with a cool roof policy. So the work that we had done here, which is to cover 100,000 square feet of cool roof and tested during summer and winter. And also the AC usage has gone down dramatically. 1 degree of AC usage, if you even bring it down by 1 degree, 6% of emissions are saved. So these are some of the solutions that we tested, and these are from real life examples. So there's a lot, like I said, one can do on a unit level. When I say unit, I mean on an apartment level. So right from the solutions that you saw, from the flush tank to the meters to the B-rated ACs, and then on the building level, which is you can put your solar system, solar reflective index paint, etc., and then on the site level, right from like EV charging to terrace gardens, to there's a lot that can be done. So basis this, one is wondering as to there are these solutions, but why is there no scaled up effect for the solutions? One of the big problems is the community does not perceive heat as a calamity or a disaster. And in India, and I don't know how it is in the rest of the world, you need to tell me, there's no, heat is not classified as a disaster. And as a result of which, there's no department that focuses on heat. It sits between a mix of the municipal commissioners, mix of departments. So, and there's no integration with housing, the codes, etc. And there have been no studies. There's a lot more to be done. In fact, while we have started, we were surprised to know we were among the few organizations in the world to work on this. In fact, our solution of framework, which I'm just going to present to you next, got selected by UNFCCC, and I got a chance to present this at Climate Week at Addis Ababa just last year in September. And in fact, we led an implementation lab and came out with a paper, which also went into COP 30. So, not too much of, there's a lot more work that needs to be done on cooling solutions and passive cooling solutions. And as you can see, we have worked more on the phase 1, which is what I showed you on informal settlements in schools and in a housing society. And we have done the thermal mapping and we have got results. We have the solution that was created is co-created with community. We didn't sit in office and create it because you can't enter somebody's house and work on it. It has to be done with them. One has to understand, what the issues are and come out with solutions that work for them. So the next level, which we plan to do in, we've got a big grant and we are working in Mira Bhainder and in Chandrapur on cooling solutions, on flood solutions, on greening, and also water. So, we will be doing more pilots and demonstrations and figuring out which solution works, which doesn't work. We have already partnered with C40 Cities and National Institute of Urban Affairs because we are more of an implementation agency. We do not have the expertise of, informing public policies. So we work with partners to see how we can then train a government. So next phase is really looking to see as to how we could integrate this as part of the national housing scheme. There is a certain amount given. So how this a small amount could be, allocated to cool roofs. Also looking at the supply chain of the cooling materials and doing more tests and giving some kind of base reference point of what works, what doesn't work. And then taking it on the city level and then looking at it on a national level. For this, we would look at working with partners. There are quite a few cities, besides the climate action plan, they have heat action plans. So that is a good sign. There are good, players in India working like Mahila Housing Trust and so many others. There are some 2, 3 others who are doing good work. We are inspired by them. We are learning from them. We are a relatively new player, but we are doing our best to see because we believe that, if anything we could do to bring relief to somebody's life, it's kind of fulfilling. So we are doing our best to see, to test more solutions and seeing how we can take it to scale. So the approach is more in terms of urban heat mapping, working with community to co-create the solution, looking at, the microclimate and how we can work in that particular area and accordingly designing the solution. And then testing across seasons to see what works, what doesn't work. So this is broadly the approach I wanted to share with you and as to how we can make cities livable again. With a focus on green retrofits, of course, my details are there. And let's open for questions.
Thank you so much, Prerna. I think we have a couple of questions that came and typed in. Otherwise, we don't have too many people, so maybe people could raise their hands after these couple of questions are answered. And also before we move forward, would like to request anybody who's comfortable to turn their cameras on so that this becomes more conversational. I think the first one we have from Elisa. Elisa, I'm sorry if I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing your name right. Um, you're on camera. Would you like to ask these directly, or should I read that out from the chat box, Q&A box?
Sure. I can ask real quick. I was just curious, you talked about 4 different specific solutions, the paint, uh, the 2 different underlayers that can be put in, and then increasing airflow. Do you usually go in and in a given household implement all of those, or just a combination? And how do you determine what's the appropriate mix?
Right. So it's a little complex. So normally we do a mixture of 2 to 3 solutions. So ventilation, you would have seen in the video those holes that we have created. Just ventilation bands we have found to be really effective. So it depends on the type of the roof, and based on the type of the roof, the solution is decided, and also the house is studied. So we have a team of, I think, we have a team of architects and engineers. So we actually go into see technically what is best, and we do have a system on which we do the modeling to see what could work. But it's also about getting consent. So we work with influencers within the community to check with them of, we are doing this to gain their trust. So yeah, so it's a mix of materials. Uh, it does change from like what works in warm and humid, and what works in warm and dry is very different, very different. So we are discovering there's not too much that has been done. A lot of work in India has been done on solar reflective index paint, that white paint, which is also blue and white on the walls of the school. It has materials that reflect out, back. So that is pretty popular in India because it's also easier.
That makes sense. Yeah, my second question is kind of related to what you already were talking about, how important co-creation of solutions is to get engagement. And I was just curious, have you found that most communities are receptive? And then how do you approach it if there isn't that trust and there isn't a willingness to engage?
Right. So so we work with the government. So we have signed an MOU with the Mira Bhainder Municipal Corporation. So we have aligned ourselves with the government. So, first, of course, we see the hottest areas, and then we see where are the most vulnerable and the most affected. Map it, and we do not directly get into the community. We use influencers. So we have something in India called ASHA workers, which are volunteers which are accredited to the government. They usually work with women and look at take them for institutional deliveries and medicine, etc. So we have worked in Mira Bhainder with them. In Chandrapur, we worked with the municipal commissioner, and they told us to work with the people that clean the streets, who are really the poorest of the poor. And so we work. Our target is really to work with them. So on the ground, the condition is really bad. I mean, I feel like, what am I doing? It's just unfair, because just imagine working and living in 46 degrees Celsius. And I met people who do for 4 months a year. So, and the municipal commissioner said that he has, during those months, because so many illnesses, and even the cooling solutions they use, they have something called a desert cooler. It was sad. There were worms and stuff, and not right. So yeah. So that's the situation. So yeah, long answer to your question.
No, thank you. That makes a lot of sense. So you've got people who already have trusted relationships, and so you can partner with them and then have those conversations around what the community wants. Thank you.
Prerna, there are a couple of questions here in the chat box before we can go ahead. I think Anvecha asks, how do you gather finances? Is it difficult to gather finances and scale solutions such as yours? And how is the climate finance scene in India? If you can take those answers.
Climate finance scene in India is like the rest of the world, needs to be developed. In India, we do have the benefit of having something known as the Corporate Social Responsibility Act 2013. So the government has mandated that companies that have a profit of around nearly a million have to spend 2% of their net profit, average net profit over the last 3 years to contribute to development, and they have specifically put areas. So there is $3 billion, but a lot of the money, I would say 98% of that money is going to rural India because people believe India and farmers and that needs attention. So in fact, my company and myself, we are doing an entire campaign because I come from that world. I was the head of CSR for Yes Bank, and I set up the ICICI Foundation uh, to make the heads aware of climate as an issue and also to get money channeled more to cities. So we have done some 4 roadshows across, and it has been somewhat successful. So to answer your question, the first pilot, nobody will give you a money. No donor would give money for like pilots so easily. So we put in a proposal to my head office. They gave us some money, and then we were very lucky to then get a grant from Tata Trust for $1 million, where we are working in Chandrapur and in Mira Bhayandar. And now we're also working with C40 cities where they have given us some grant to demonstrate to see what works. So right now, this funding for this is at the nascent stage, needs to be developed. And I think all of us have to play a role to, I am going to get more CSR heads to attend the Terra.do course. So, so that way, the awareness, or my awareness has gone even up, even though I'm working in this area, the sensitivity has gone up. So I guess it's all our responsibilities.
Thank you. Jifina asks, what is the timeline to figure out the exact combination of solution needed in a particular place, house, school, etc.? And
So, yeah, go ahead.
sorry, when are you planning to move to other states in India?
So so the timeline now it's going faster because we have already mapped and done heat mapping using GIS and thermal mapping, and we already know the areas that where to target the most vulnerable. We have entered the communities. But earlier it took like to identify which houses, like I took quite some time. It took like 4 to 5 months or so. But now it's moving fast because we have already entered that area. So at Aga Khan, we have so many sister agencies. We are part of the Aga Khan Development Network. So different agencies work in different geographies. So we work, our focus is a lot more on cities. We work in rural areas, but focusing more on Maharashtra, Gujarat, and Telangana. So, and there's a lot more to do within Chandrapur and Mira Bhayandar before we move to other cities. Yeah.
Got it. We have Sonaila. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Is there any way someone can contribute to the project on a volunteer basis?
Yeah, sure. In fact, I invite people from the Terra.do batch. If you want to visit, we can even facilitate a visit. It's not so far away from Mumbai, just 2 hours from Mumbai, and Chandrapur is inside, and Chandrapur is a real good experience. But we can facilitate a visit, and if you'd like to volunteer, we can look at opportunities to volunteer even remotely because there's work to be done with the data that's captured. So we can look at, I can put out a deck on what is possible and how can one volunteer remotely and how you can learn remotely. I'll just need to consult, within the team and figure out. But that's possible.
Thank you. I think we'll all try to come to Mumbai, whoever can make it.
Or Chandrapur, even better.
Yes. So the other one comes from Saujanya. What do you see as the most challenging part of this program? Is it identifying effective solutions or convincing and collaborating with people in implementing them? They would also like to understand if there are plantation slash nature based solutions that can be meaningfully integrated into this problem solving methodology.
Yeah, so I like it has to be a mix of all. So, like I said, areas that are shaded are less prone to. So, wherever there's shading, even in wherever we work, the temperatures are lower. So, trees are a solution. So, more and more that we can do in terms of like mini forests. We do a lot of mini forest in urban areas, and we do this thing called Miyawaki where you can grow many more trees. So that way, that particular area is covered. What is challenging is right now we are at a very nascent stage. So everything is a challenge. But having said that, now that we have, some kind of pilots, and thank God for the UNFCCC recognition, we would like to have more money to test out different kinds of solutions because there's a host of other solutions that we would like to test out. Then we would like to see as to how we can deepen the work, like I said, phase 2 and phase 3. We have already established contact with partner, nonprofits that are complementary to us that can work on policy advocacy. So it's all work in progress. Next step next.
Got it. We have a hand raised from Tanusha, our fellow sea turtle. Tanusha, if you could unmute yourself.
Hi, Lasya. Thank you. Hi, Prerana. Thank you so much for the talk. I think just shameless plug, I work at CEW. So
Okay.
yes. So would love to connect. And we've actually been given like one of my tasks is to try to find people to write op-ed pieces with. So to kind of like build a narrative around a lot of like implementable climate action work that's being done on ground. So that was one. The second thing was a question where you had, and you've mentioned it again, and a few people have said it. Do you not think that there is scope of private finance beyond CSR? So, for example, real estate foundations, quick commerce companies where, their daily workers kind of depend on cooler climates just for the company to exist, like companies whose business models depend on cooler environments. Has there been any kind of like work around that? Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, Tanusha. Tanusha, we look up to CEW. You are like, lighthouse for climate, and we look up to the work that you do. So thanks for your input. So we need to crack what you're talking about. Um, how do we tap into? I do not know too many people in that space. I have come from more like a corporate social responsibility space. So, the people I know, we are tapping into, but would love to chat with you to see how we can co-create this work. Because really, it is a work of not only co-creation with community, but with a whole lot of people to actually make it scalable.
Sounds good. Lasya, would you mind connecting us after?
Yes,
And just quick one, Karthik, we are CEEW, which is the Council for Energy, Environment and Water. It's one of the biggest global think tanks in Asia and I think in the world.
Yeah, they do fabulous work. Like their research work is looked up to, and they have good inroads to influence policy also. So would love to talk and see how we can, input with our implementation work.
Yeah, I think this is a good cue for Tanusha to nominate somebody from CEW to come speak at TerraDo next.
I'll try. I'll try.
We have one final question because we have 2 minutes left. So, Prerana, this is again from Jifina. Is it really bad for those who work on ground for waste management? Is there a different set of solutions proposed for them, or is this still work in progress?
So the waste management people, the Safai Karmacharis, we are adopting the solutions that I talked to you about, and we are using solar also there. Ventilation bans are working well there, and we are happy to say that there has been a decrease of 2 to 5 degrees. Now, 2 to 5 degrees is quite a lot, huh? Because now we have learned the importance of degrees, right? In the course that we have done. So we are working actively with the waste, the people who, the waste managers, and it's work in progress. I will able to come back to you maybe 6 months later and tell you, tangible results.
Got it. We have 1 minute. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. Prerana, if you would like to say anything as parting thoughts here.
I just wanted to say thank you. It feels so good, first of all, to be part of this community of learners and also community of wonderful people who care. So, and I think all of us have one thing in common, that we want to learn. So I feel happy that I'm able to share. And in any way, if I can contribute to anybody's learning journey, I am open. So I will figure out in terms of volunteering opportunities or further learning opportunities. And I'm also happy to learn from each one of you. It has been fabulous. I am behind schedule on completing the course, but I'm committed. I have thoroughly enjoyed this course, and I'm happy to be here. So look forward to being in touch. I'm on LinkedIn, but I can even put my email address here in the chat. Happy to see if there's any follow up or anything that needs. Shweta, the course that I'm doing is the Terra.do course. Sorry, I just assumed that
It's called
everybody.
Learning for Action, the Climate Change Fellowship on Terra.do. It's their flagship fellowship that you can look up.
And it's really good. I highly recommend it.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining, everybody. Thank you for being here, Prerana.
Pleasure.